Ola has taught us quite a lot if you've been here. Managing your expectation, emotional intelligence, how to control our emotions. Back in the day, if I'm doing this show, the way I will come for that freeze.
Man of prestige. Ha! Now this guy win. Now you win. Now you win today. Now you win. I agree. Man of prestige. Now man you be.
I'm sure some people will be jealous now the way I talk about Ola. But I have learned a lot from him. That's why I keep telling you to follow him. If you don't follow Man of Prestige, now you know.
Yeah, we find her, the beautiful girl we've been missing. We wanna have her kissing. We find her, now we in love. Say Gossip, the remix.
DMB, Tux Bites, remix.
Now if I had to lose you like a bad phone connection, I'd change my game to get a better reception. Sit back, let's start this interaction. Don't fight the feelings, just a chain reaction. Your heart won't give it the wrong instructions. Like my GPS, yes, I got the right direction. We gotta merge together like a road intersection. Last stop is gonna be my love and affection. I ain't like them other dudes, they wanna call you shorty, but I'ma call you a beautiful girl. I took your picture home, my mama saw it, she's a very, very beautiful girl. I wanna put you in my video, cause you're so beautiful. You're a beautiful girl. So when you hear us on your radio, turn up your stereo. It's beautiful girl.
Gotta find a shorty what's worth of a lady. It's nice but maybe doesn't look like 40. It's taking a little time. I wasn't seeing no signs, any traces of my baby. Who's gonna be my baby? But I thought I'm gonna take my time. But then it took a long fine eye. I saw a shorty passing by. She's got this very pretty smile. It was right at the pen station. I tried to make a conversation, holding her arms, feeling so charmed. I felt the sensation. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. And now I realize I found me a beautiful girl. She's a model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it by. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, a killing thigh. I found me a beautiful girl.
My wish came true when I saw you, girl. God must have blessed me with your beauty, girl. Looking so right from your head to your toe. Shaped like a cocoa bottle with a smile of a queen. My queen to be, you my destiny. Got a body of a goddess with your beauty. I'm impressed and I'm never in distress. Come on over and be mine. Been searching for a man and now all the cats keep looking to mine. With a sexy walk and a sexy talk. She must be from the planet called the sexy world. I know I ain't tripping, better yet I'm thinking put a ring on the finger, we look good together. Take your place in my heart with your beauty. I'ma say that I'll never turn away. Who would think I'm in love?
So the way she smiles at me just really makes me weak. The way she speaks to me just really make me go so weak. Keep staring in her eyebrows. All I kept on saying is wow. If you touch us and breeze at night, all I really want in my life. Oh yeah. It's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling eyes, killing thigh. I found me a beautiful girl. Yeah, beautiful girl. What beautiful girl, yeah. Beautiful girl.
Damn. Money. You seen her? Hot Ice. Have you seen her? LP. Have you seen her? I'ma go over to Tux Bites. I know you've probably seen her. He has a lot of beautiful girls with him. Tux, it's DMB, baby. Look.
Beautiful.
I look for her a while, but I can't seem to find
find a beautiful girl so I can make her mine. Time after time I've been searching for a while, but every girl I meet never seems worthwhile. What can I do? I pray to God for an answer. I feel pains in my heart like cancer, and when I find her, I'm gonna romance her. Lace of her presents and gifts, call me Santa Claus. I make her heartbeat pause. That's my girl, homeboy, not yours. The girl of my dreams, she's more than I ever thought. Show me ass and culture, I think I'm getting punked. She's what I really want, so I'm a go-getter. Since I'm a go-getter, you know I'm gon' get her. And I will give her the world, anything for my beautiful girl.
Psych. Ooh, it's been a while that I've been trying to find a beautiful girl. Fine, brown eyes. I found me a beautiful girl. She's my model, she's so fine. I just wanna take it. Beautiful girl. Sparkling night, killing time. I found a beautiful girl.
Girl, it's your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.
Ola has taught us quite a lot if you've been here. Managing your expectation, emotional intelligence, how to control our emotions. Back in the day, if I'm doing this show, the way I will come for Daddy Freeze.
Man of prestige. Ha! Now this guy win. Now you win. Now you win today. Now you win. I agree. Man of prestige. Now man you be.
I'm sure some people will be jealous now the way I talk about Ola. But I have learned a lot from him. That's why I keep telling you to follow him. If you don't follow Man of Prestige, now you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What's going on? Hello. Happy Wednesday. Yes, audio is solid. That's what's up. What's going on? How's everybody doing? Not well now. How you doing? Area. All right. We're here. Let's talk about it. I've got maybe 5 stories to cover today, but welcome. If you're brand new here, do me a favor. Hit that like, share, subscribe. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Today is in fact an awesome day. Okay, it's an awesome day, and here's why. Here, check this out. Check that out. 4,000 subscribers. We did it. I want to say thank you to everybody that subscribed to the platform. 4,000 subscribers is a big deal. 3,999 was a big deal. 4,000 subscribers is a big deal. Okay. And right now we're sitting at about 4,004 subscribers. So, we've gone past that now. So, but 4,000 subscribers, we're just getting started. As you can imagine, we're just getting started. Oh my God. If you are going to be part of the reasons why the next generation will struggle with relationship, we have every intentions to drag you. Okay, would be nice, but Baba, it's for all of our own good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have work to do, so we're just getting started. So I just wanted to say that really quickly before we continue, but I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to all the congratulations, the well wishes. D-Love, we did it. What's going on, D-Love? Good to see you. Irene, hello. Thank you. All right. So now there's something I wanted to remind us about. Every time you come here, if you got any kind of value from here, drop something. I don't care if it's 99 cents super chat. I don't care if it's $1.99 super chat. I don't care if it's $5. I don't care if it's $50. I don't care if it's just a like. Make sure you drop something so we can keep it moving, so we can keep the work going. All right. I just want to say thank you. All right. So, but just in case you're brand new here, let me not make assumptions that you're not brand new here. Okay. If you notice that you're not able to chat, it's because you're not subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed. Okay. But this is Man of Prestige. My name is Ola. I'm coming to you live from my Empire Pro Studios. And what we do here is we talk about relationships from a power, self, social, seduction, attraction, emotional, intelligence standpoint. We don't really focus too much on right and wrong. If you think someone is right or you think somebody is wrong, I kind of agree with you already.
Oh, you're right.
I agree with you already, because obviously you are making an assertion and you're coming from your own standpoint, your own outlook on life. I can always respect that. What I really like to talk about is the result you're looking for. The result that most people are looking for when it comes to romantic relationships, and if one move is going to create a better result or not. Okay, so I'm not worried about what your moral compass is or are. I don't care. Personally, I don't care. Like if you come to me and say, you know what, I'm happy, I'm getting the result that I'm looking for, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. I'm actually, I don't want to, no, it's not like I actually don't care. I do care. I do care, but I'm happy for you, okay? But we don't have a conversation, is what I'm saying. There's nothing to talk about because you're creating the results that you're looking for. Now, maybe it's not you, you're just looking to learn more, and that's the kind of stuff that we talk about here. I'm like you too. I want to learn more. I want to rub minds. I want to have a conversation, and that's basically what we come here to do. I do have a testimony along with my wife. You can find it at lolaandlola.com, or you can just go to loveandprestige.com. Okay, that will take you to the books. You can download the one book so far. There's one new book that will be released. It's called The Red Flag. That book will be released on December 30th of this year. It's the last Saturday of this year, so we're working on that right now. So that book is coming very soon. It's called Number One Red Flag. The Number One Red Flag. So look out for that. So we're working. This works, okay? If you're not yet part of the notification gang on WhatsApp, you want me to notify you personally, just go to lolaandlola.com/WhatsApp. That will take you through into the group so I can notify you when I do go live. All right, so let's not waste any more time. 13 minutes into the stream. We do have a couple of stories to cover today. Let me say hello to my people. Hey, Chinye, how far? D, hello. Welcome. All right. So, like I said, we did it. 4,000 subscribers is not your mate. Okay, it's small, but we're getting started. So, do me a favor. Hit that like, share, subscribe. Okay. Let's ping everyone else into the room. If you're on Twitter, if you're watching from Twitter, I notice a bunch of people have been watching from Twitter. Make sure you're following the Twitter page. Don't just watch and leave. Don't be like dear future wife would say. Don't be shocking. Let's get some commitment from you. Okay, I appreciate you. All right, thank you. All right, so with that being said, we do have a couple of stories to cover today. The main story today, Richard Mofe-Damijo, RMD, we're going to be covering that as well. So we got some lessons to go through today. I'll be right back. All right. So earlier on, I dropped a video very early today, like around 9 o'clock. I dropped a video because my wife came in. I don't know if you guys, anybody in the chat saw that video about Tyrese? Anybody saw that video? If you're you saw that video earlier, just say 1. If you didn't, just say 2. Let me get some sensors here. If you saw that video I dropped earlier, say 1. If you didn't see that video about Tyrese, it was around 9 a.m. New York time in the morning when I dropped it. Anybody saw that video? We're still talking about Tyrese. Can you imagine? I think we're gonna keep talking about him. Tyrese, Yola Doche, Ekene, Bishop. Anyway, we're gonna be talking about all of them. Okay. Yeah, and let's see here. Okay. All right. 2. Irene didn't see it. D Love didn't see it. D didn't see it. Natu saw it. Okay. Well, essentially, I'm just gonna play this video and then we'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. But today, basically, a little bit. Okay. But results will always tell on you. This is not a court of law, so we're not judging you, but we will tell you what our opinion is. I will tell you, let me stop talking in we before they call me a narcissist. I will tell you what my opinion is, and it's not a judgment. It's just my prediction of what I think is going on, okay? And I get to do that because this is the platform, okay? But I do not just to do its sake, so we can learn from it, and especially when we start telling ourselves, especially when the results start telling on you and the result is showing that I'm right, and I have to tell you that I'm right, until then, I agree that, your opinion, you're right,
Well, you're right.
But you're right, so there's no need for Shalaye.
We go explain, because no evidence.
Foul Nyash don't open. Yes. So let me go ahead and play that video and then we'll talk about it, shall we?
Please. Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Jesus Christ.
No, let's go back a little bit.
Let's call my wife, please. Oh God.
Uh-oh.
Jesus Christ.
Am I on the radio?
Yes, you are. You're on the radio. Tyrese is calling me a liar. For people that don't know, I stopped talking to Tyrese, and there was a reason why I stopped talking to Tyrese. Not because only did I think he was a bozo and full of ish, but also because of the way that I felt he was talking and conducting business with my wife. Tyrese helped save.
All right, talking and conducting business with my wife. I wonder what he's talking about. What do you think he's talking about? If you watched, not to probably know what we're talking about already, right? But I wonder what he's talking about. Tyrese is a good guy. Okay? It's a good guy. In fact, there's a video that will drop right after this live stream. Make sure you watch it. It says Tyrese is a good guy, but I need you to watch that video too, right? I wonder what we're talking about. But envy, they don't come even pettier than Envy. DJ Envy, let me give you a quick DJ Envy is one of the main hosts of the Breakfast Club, which is radio station, one of the hottest radio station in New York City area. They're also syndicated around the nation. And just a few days ago, Tyrese, who is a singer, sweet lady, that song, right? Tyrese was on the show, and Tyrese was like, what, I helped your marriage, but I don't feel like you appreciate that. And the DJ Envy is trying to help him, but the coconut head in Tyrese will not listen. So Tyrese kept calling them out. Tyrese got back home. He still did a whole live stream calling them out and crying on live Instagram. And you would think that, this guy that is shit does not smell. But he really thinks, I really believe that he thinks his shit does not smell. Let me repeat what I just said. I believe that he truly believes that his shit does not smell. Okay, good guys, Mr. Nice guys, they operate like that. The main issue with the way they move is that they are entitled. Okay, they think just because they are good. Oh, by the way, women also have the same behavior, right? They think just because I'm a good person, then that's all it takes. And the problem is that there is game. you do need game. Yes, as a woman too, you do need to have game. If you don't have game, your result will tell you. Okay, you notice that it's not the result you're getting, that the result you're getting is not what you desire, right? There are some unfortunate situations, but they are minority. That's why they are unfortunate. In majority of the time, we're talking about competence. That's what we're talking about. But of course, people like Tyrese will always cap, right? No, just a good guy. What did OP say? We're gonna call him OP. OP and a Kenyan then. What did he say? Tyrese just a good guy who was taken advantage of by his woman. Let's continue.
Our relationship, when we were going through probably our lowest point and I cheated, Tyrese came in and really helped us and guided us through our relationship, correct?
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
And then we got to a point where we stopped talking to Tyrese. I even blocked Tyrese, and I wanted to box his mouth as I.
All right, so I'm pausing a little bit because I don't want to, break. What do you call them? High Heart Radio are gonna come here and try to slap something. They're stupid. They're stupid like that. Tyrese was there to help them, okay, and they appreciate that. They wrote that in their book, right? What did he do? He showed up with violins and stuff at their house. He sang while DJ Envy was apologizing. DJ Envy, he cheated on his wife. Tyrese is not a cheater. The men that are not cheaters, a lot of you think that the cheaters are your problems. No, the cheaters are clearly cheaters. They are wrong. If you see them, what you need to do is avoid them. But let me guess, you don't avoid them. You're attracted to them. And then you come back here and complain. Right? We're talking about people that are actually in a relationship with you, that are actually trying to do the right thing, but somehow they can't see how they are wrong. Right? So somehow they can't see, okay, not wrong. Okay, remember, we don't talk about right, but they can't see how they are creating undesirable results when it comes to your marriage. That's what we're talking about. People like Envy, they can see clearly, I was wrong. No, I let my weakness get the best of me. I cheated. That's easy, right? It's not easy to recover from that, obviously, but what I'm saying is that in terms of identifying what the problem is, that's easy. When it comes to Mr. Nice Guys and good guys, it's an extremely difficult thing. It's an extremely difficult thing to get them to see how they are creating the result that they have. Let's keep going.
I said the other day, and can you explain to the people why we stopped talking to Tyrese?
Let's go.
Well, we stopped talking to Tyrese on 2 different occasions. Once, many, many years ago, when he did do that amazing thing for us.
Mm-hmm.
He and I became friends, and we were very, very cool, and we spoke often. But for me, it got to a point where it became inappropriate and uncomfortable, where I felt as though...
All right, at this point, your guess is just as good as mine. Can anyone guess, before we continue, anybody want to guess what she's talking about? She said inappropriate, uncomfortable, right? So, yeah, somebody's about to say, that's a Me Too. Is she calling Me Too on this right now? Maybe, but your guess is just as good as mine. I want to know, what do you guys think? Let me see. Yvette, hello Yvette, good to see you, Yvette. He always crying, nonsense and ingredient. Voila. Let's continue. If he doesn't check himself, look inwards and address his situation, then he will continue to repeat this nonsense of goodness. Yep. You can't deny it, but she said uncomfortable. And what's the other word? Inappropriate. Okay. Now, if you've seen what's her name, Gia Casey, that's the wife of DJ Envy. If you've listened to her long enough, she pretty much works in a straight line. She's not like, she will try to protect the situation as long as it's possible, unless you keep throwing yourself under the bus. Then at some point she won't be able to help you anymore, right? And you're gonna see that play a part here as well. Can anybody guess? Mr. Nice Guy. Obviously it's our opinion. It's just our opinion, right? So we can't really just take her words. We're not playing believe all women here, right? We can just take our words, but I want you to just guess. What do you think is going on here? She said inappropriate, not comfortable, right? Somebody's about to, well, she's lying. Maybe she's lying. the way she felt, whatever interaction they had, she found it inappropriate. She found it not comfortable. Guess all that matters? How she feels. Right? How she feels is all that matters. When I say matter, somebody's connecting what I said to I'm agreeing with somebody lying. No. I'm saying when things play out, the reality of how things are going to play out, what matters is how people feel. I'm not saying I agree. I don't know what I'm agreeing with yet. How people feel is all that matters with regards to how things play out in relationships, any type of relationships. Okay? And if you don't understand that, yes, the results are consistent. You will continue to collect. And you will continue to ask, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Because you keep talking about your logical, but you are missing the biggest part of the variable, people's feelings. Anyway, let's continue. Let me see. Chia says, Tyrese, the perfect, excellent, non-cheating, self-starting, make moves, probably. I wonder. Let's keep going.
Lines were being crossed.
Lines were being crossed.
Times where I felt like he was extremely demanding of my time and of my attention. Where if I didn't give him my time and my attention, he would get very angry, get very upset. At that time, I didn't feel as though he was going through any mental issues. I didn't feel as though he was facing any mental challenges at that time. I know that he does go through things, and I know that he has been on medication, but at that time I felt as though he was very clear-minded and everything seemed cool. But when I started to feel uncomfortable and you started to feel uncomfortable, we took a step back.
Well, what lines were crossed? Because people would be like, well, what lines did he cross?
I don't really feel comfortable being specific.
Why won't she be specific? She already said he was quite demanding of her time and attention. Your guess is just as good as mine. But it doesn't matter. Here on Men of Prestige, it doesn't matter because feelings is all that matters, and that's what we're discussing. How can you, what did OP and Ekene said, how can you detect people's feelings? These are your problems. It's a skill set. You need to learn it. It's a skill set. You see, oftentimes you don't need to know the feeling. You just need to be aware that people have feelings. Just the awareness is half the battle won. That way you slow down, you don't overreact to nonsense that has nothing to do with you. But when you overreact, it's like, no, they're supposed to. You just get stuck in supposed to, right? And then you wonder why you're creating the same result. I'm still wondering, with someone's wife who, listen, time, attention. Whatever she's saying there, we don't know. But it sounds like a big deal.
Because at the same time, I still do have a respect for him. I know that you still do have a respect for him.
That's cap. But let's continue.
I would feel more comfortable just being general and saying that, there was flirting and inappropriate compliments for a woman who's married.
Okay. I respect that.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
I don't have respect for him, though, but yeah, no, I get.
Thank you, Envy. He said, I don't have respect for him, though.
And you do it, and I appreciate that. What he did.
How did you? She was being diplomatic, which is okay.
No, I know. I know that I know that everything that's going on right now, and I know that he's being boisterous about it. I haven't been on Instagram in the last 2 weeks because we've been really busy, but you've told me some things, but I haven't really seen it firsthand, so it's not going to affect me the same way it's affecting you because I haven't seen it. But what I can say is that very clear lines were crossed.
Very clear lines were crossed. I mean, gentlemen, listen to this. When you leave an open door for assumptions like that, I want you to know that human beings, especially women, will make assumptions of the worst case scenario. Okay, what is the best case scenario here? He just doesn't know how to let people be when they decide that they don't want to talk. What is the worst case scenario here? He wants a kiss from somebody's wife. At that point, that's already crossing the line to worse, right? But she said clear lines were crossed. I wonder.
Nah, I get it.
So how did you see it, Envy?
There's certain things that you don't say to a man's wife. There's certain things that you don't say to a man's girlfriend. There's certain.
True. I've experienced this before in the past. Okay. Yeah. Somebody that's supposed to be close. Okay. What I can promise you is that I had to assume the worst case scenario and cut that person off completely after my wife told me. Okay. But this is the reality. Okay. This is what the Mr. Good Guy, and the problem with Mr. Good Guys is that they might not use the words. He might come back and say, show me receipts. You know, they're always carrying receipts around. Yeah, weak men always carry receipts around. Okay, that's just what it is. And he might come back and say, there's no proof, no evidence. And then he's now trying to do shalaye with no evidence on his own part. And it's too late. But again, you exposed yourself all along. We were warning you. Coconut head. Remember Kanye West? Coconut head. Coconut head. Calm down. The world does not operate the way you think it does. Relax. I'm telling you so that you don't expose yourself. Right? But no, you must talk. You must speak your truth. Now we have this, at least we can call it allegations. Do you realize that allegations in human brain is the same thing as accusation? It's the same thing as you're guilty already, as far as they're concerned. The only thing is that you won't go to jail. That needs to be tested. Right? That will need to be tested in the courts before you can go to jail. But it's worse, if not worse. Now you have, if you have a reputation, now you have to deal with cleaning that reputation.
Things that you don't say in a flirtatious way. And I told you what he said. You spoke to my wife yesterday, so you know what he said.
So that's why you wanted to box. That's why you said I'll box your mouth.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to box his mouth. It's just certain things you don't play with somebody's wife like that. And
were you upset that he wasn't flirting with you in any way, shape, or form?
A little bit.
Ode. This one's an ode. Whether there's receipt or not, he knows what he did behind closed doors. Listen, when people have to do shalaye over and over and over again, you have to start looking at them sideways. Why are you doing shalaye with no evidence? You're guilty of something. We can't put our fingers on it yet. But this need, this urge to explain. My point is, what is the issue? Now, sadly, some people really don't know the issue. There is issues and there are issues, but some people just don't know.
No, you see, you're playing too much. But no, when it comes to it, I look at it like this. Tyrese did help save my marriage, and I have a respect for him for that. That's the reason why, instead of going at him, I just let it go. I just not spoke to him anymore until he starts going up. Now, I don't know if he has a record to sell. He's trying to push his record.
Yeah, it's that mixed feelings where you feel like this person was there for me once upon a time, but they've crossed a certain line because of what they did for me, but after they crossed a certain line, you kind of like, I got to keep my distance. You know someone like that. I know you know someone like that, Yeah.
Or whatever it may be. I just don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is that man was up here. He was in our faces. We had a conversation. After the conversation, we let things go. And it's just always weird when people do that. They go home and now all of a sudden they do other things. We just had a conversation. We was just here for an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was strange.
Yeah, because he can't help it. He needs to be right. It's an obsession to be right. Mr. Nice Guys have an obsession with being right, and they create all the wrong results because of that. They don't get any kind of fulfillment from their own moves from inside. They need it to come from the outside, which is why it's not sustainable. So when you leave them alone, after a while they go and retake it, they will come back with additional shalaye, and then there's still no evidence.
Strange.
But I just don't like to be called a liar. And when somebody says, I got receipts, when I'm like, no, you spoke to my wife.
What receipts? What do you mean he said he has receipts? Because I'm going to be honest, I don't want to be put in a position to divulge the things that were said. But if he's calling you a liar, then that's a step that might have to be taken. Because by no stretch of the imagination are you a liar. By no stretch of the imagination are you exaggerating.
See, I keep telling you, Everybody is running around town talking about cheating, talking about finances, talking about all that stuff. It doesn't matter. If you and your husband, you and your wife, you're on the same page, unity is secret number one. If you can figure out how to get to being on the same page, right? Meaning no cracks in the wall. Nothing can get in between. It doesn't matter what atrocities you might have committed in the past. It doesn't matter how people might be judging you. It doesn't matter if they see the husband as soft or they see the woman as, oh, she's for the street. Why does she dress like that? All of that doesn't matter. If both people, if they're on the same page, that's all it takes. If you can simplify your work down to, I need to get on the same page with this person. That's why we call it seduction. That's really the point of it. It's a process. It's time. It takes patience. If you just first of all identify what you're looking for, which is unity, and then you find your way down to, you learn how to navigate your way down to, me and my romantic partner, we're on the same page. Guess what everybody else and all the limbs are doing? They want to be right. They want to be holy. They want to walk a straight line where they've never done anything wrong ever before. They are obsessed with being right. It's not sustainable because that's actually not a real thing. With nobody only pass. That's the bottom line. No one is only pass. So if what you're putting all your energy in is to try to be holy, you will fail all the time because you take all your focus off of making sure you're on the same page with your romantic partner. And you're seeing that demonstrate itself in front of you right now. You see how she just came back all the way from, like, you know what, if he's calling you a liar, all right, we're just gonna have to unpack everything then, right? We can still hide some things here and there. We can say, hey, you crossed a very clear line, not blurry line, a clear line, right? Inappropriate, made her uncomfortable, right? The Me Too's are gonna run with this and say, what did Tyrese do?
Exaggerating anything.
Okay.
It was very clear. It was very inappropriate, and your reaction was very appropriate.
And I also want to say, when he said I didn't check on him, how many messages did I send you yesterday where I showed you that I checked on him numerous times?
No, he was on the psych med, so he didn't realize that you checked on him. Of course, right?
Sick of y'all. And
I'm just asking.
I'm be honest with you. I'm sick of
I'm
you
just
and
asking.
Tyrese. And I think y'all are lovers.
You think so?
I do.
Oh, weirdy.
This is what I think this is all about. I think
He's not my type.
I think his next album is about both his exes. Okay, you and his ex-wife.
He's not my type.
I think Beautiful Pain has something to do with you too.
Both his exes. All right, I'm done. Let's leave this story alone. We've got some more stuff to. What time is it? 5:37. Oh, interesting. Okay. We got some more stuff to cover. We have more stuff to cover. I'll be right back. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. I beg. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about Kiki. Do you love me? That song, right? Let's talk about Kiki. Kiki is she's a skit maker in Nigeria, a comedian, actress, I guess, And she said something that went viral in Nigeria over the past few days. Shout out to Instablog Nigeria. We're just gonna play it right from there. Just say you earn more than your husband. Somebody is replying to her. Some actress Peggy Ovie, that's how you pronounce that, reacts to media personality. But let's see what Kiki said.
Me,
first.
for one, I tell women this. How will you be leaving the house and you're not paying rent? For me, it does not make sense. See, I'm living in this house. We are sharing the rent. On my birthday, fly me to Dubai. Fly me to Barcelona for my birthday. That's beautiful. Buy me a Fendi bag. Buy me a Christian whatever. Beautiful. But that I'll be living in that house and not pay rent, it is not possible. So that one wants to, you carry.
All right. So this was from Toke Makiwa, Toke Moment podcast. So just want to say that really quickly. Oh Lord. She said, how can she live in a house and not pay rent? Me as a man. I don't mind. Okay, even as a man. Even as a man, right? So just so you know that let's even take the whole gender thing out of it. As usual, the gender thing is the lamest and the easiest part of things to point fingers at. But even as a man, okay, if you want to give me shelter where I don't pay shingbai, I don't pay mortgage, I don't pay rent, I don't have to worry about it, I will be very, very comfortable. As long as I know that it's paid for, as long as I know that nobody is kicking me out, right? So I want you to look at it from that lens, okay? I will be comfortable, okay? Now, I'm not comfortable not bringing in income just as an adult, okay? But the rent in here go that this auntie said she's not comfortable not paying rent. I am very comfortable not paying rent. Okay, now I don't know about you, okay? If somehow my life is set up, okay, I'll tell you like this. Between 1990 and 2005, my father never had to pay rent, and he wasn't living in his house either, okay? And he was still a good father to me, okay? And he was still taking care of responsibilities. There's this thing about rent. There's this stubbornness coconut head about housing expenses, right? What does it make you feel like when you pay rent? Does it make you feel more like an adult? Is that what we're dealing with? Because I want to know what we're dealing with exactly. But I'm going to let her continue. Maybe I will get to it.
Yeah, carry television. You carry the roof. I carry the floor. When we see everything equal. You can't tell me get out of my house.
Oh, now we got to it. So that nobody can kick her out of the house. See, when people talk, you have to be patient and let them tell you why they say what they say. Because oftentimes it might just be a difference in how they use their English language or their language, or they're speaking from a different mindset altogether. Like, always be patient and say, hey, what do you mean? Why? Because you want to know where they're coming from. You want to know why they said what they said. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is why, their purpose. Why is it that they say what they say? What they say, sometimes if you get stuck in semantics, you just be arguing with your destiny. And you and I know that I don't encourage anybody arguing with their destiny, right? So why are you not comfortable not paying rent? Because you are afraid that a husband we kick you out of a house. The issue here is, again, competition. It's not the tangibles. It's not what you touch. It's not what you can, like the obvious stuff. You need to find out what mindset is that person coming from. That's what you need to find out before you address the issue. On the surface, if you agree or disagree with her, you will only be telling me that you can connect. You can connect with the experience that she's talking. You can relate, right? That's all you're telling me. You're not necessarily telling me that we can learn anything in particular, right? So again, what we can learn is inside of the reason why they say what they say, not on what they said. If you want to pay rent, pay rent. If you don't want to pay rent, don't pay rent. But me, if I look at that statement on surface value, right, I'm not comfortable living in a house where I'm not paying rent. I instantly disagree. Even as a man, I can live in a house where I don't have to pay rent, I don't have to pay mortgage, I don't have to worry about my housing expenses, as long as I know that it's being taken care of. Why? Because I have no motive. I have no ulterior motive. That's a free housing. My father had quarters. They gave him a whole compound because he was a general manager of a company, and he was able to, and he was taken care of for years, right? And we were comfortable living in it. Well, it's not relevant now because of why she's saying what she said. She just told us why she said what she said. She doesn't want to get thrown out, particularly by her husband, not a landlord. Those are two different things. Thrown out by a landlord, obviously, if the landlord says you pay this a certain amount of money, you pay that, or you get evicted. No, she's talking about between her and her husband. Now, what she's doing might work for her, right? The issue becomes when somebody takes that mindset and go try to transplant that into their marriage. It might not work. Because why? Why is it that it won't work? If you end up with a person that their insecurity rises all the way to the top, which is not a crime. It can happen to anybody, man or woman, right? If their insecurity rises to the top because you have this mindset about, if you do this, I do this. If you do this, I do this. When you do this, I do this. When they bring that mindset into a marriage, there are ways that it backfires, right? In spite of all the intentions, of good intentions, right? But if you both agree and you operate in that same way, if there's unity with respect to that type of mindset, like I always say, anything can work. As long as you're both, there are two human beings, at least two human beings involved, anything can work out, right? But if by any chance, which is most likely you will end up with someone like that, somebody start to feel funny, because you're always competing to pay rent. Yeah, no, I want to put my own 50%. I'm Gabriel Union. I want to put. If you operate like this in every aspect of that relationship, it will backfire. It's the mindset. It's not about, I can take your money. Listen, I can take your money. I'll take your money. I will even spend it for you. I will use it to buy you a gift. I will even use it to take you on to the Maldives, right? Right? But the issue is when this same mindset is transplanted to other areas of your lives. If there's an active competition, always competition, like, no, you do this, I do this, you do this, I do that. If it shows up in other areas, or more, that marriage, you collect left and right. There's no way around it. It's not even something that we are going to debate about.
Sorry.
These are the hidden issues in marriages, or marriage in general. This is when the scripture says you're not fighting flesh. It's not the obvious stuff, right? On the obvious level, yeah, sure. The issue is that the way you behave in one aspect of life is how you tend to behave in other areas of life. Okay? Why did this become such a topic? Right? It became such a topic for a good reason. For a reason. It's been a point of contention. Right? The reality is that women help with rent and all type of expenses. That's the reality. That's why this is not really the issue. The real issue is the mindsets. Somebody thought when they said that, they felt a little bit safer. Somebody liked that statement because it felt a little safer. And that doesn't solve the problems, because the problems are deeper than anything on the surface. D-Love said, yes, Kiki threw me off for a bit there, but it makes sense now. Now it's making sense. That is not same context, MOP. What do you mean? The context, she gave us a context. She said, I grabbed TV, you grabbed it, right? You grabbed this, I grabbed this. We're talking about worst case scenario here. That's all we're talking about here at the end of the day. Worst case scenario, when two people are not on the same page. If you use that to determine how you move in the beginning, you will get in trouble. You will get in trouble. You will attract what you fear the most. I say that here all the time. And I know it's counterintuitive, because after all, you're supposed to protect yourself. That's the mystery of life. That's why it all goes back to self-worth. If you're already feeling insecure, everything will just start to go wrong. It starts with the mindset. I don't think it's from a mindset of competition though. I think she wants to feel valued and included. Yeah. That means it's missing. There's a void in the first place. All of that should be flowing. It shouldn't be so hard. It really shouldn't be so hard. If it's that hard, it will continue to be that hard. Okay? Not her in particular, but anybody would. Again, remember here, if that mindset of I do this, when you do this, I do that, if that transplants to other areas of their relationship, if that shows up, remember, it's just mindset. That's why it's going viral. It's a mindset issue. It's not an issue that you pay half of your rent, Abi, you help me pay rent. That happens all the time. That's never going to be an issue. It's an issue if it's a thing. If it becomes a thing, if it becomes your God, right? If you start to worship that idea, it will backfire. Let's see. My own is, if the man decides to pay 100% of mortgage, wonderful. I'll be saving money and assisting with other things. You know why you feel that way? Because you feel safe. The moment you start to feel unsafe, then you will listen to that message, even though she might have been doing it as agreement between her and her husband, it works for her. You will listen to that message and be like, Otomani, it's true. Why? Because you're connecting with, you're relating with, you don't feel safe, right? And then it will expand. What you focus on expands. Listen, I'm just saying, let's be careful with the talking points. Let's be very, very careful. In a marriage, you need to be on the same page, okay? And particularly, I'm not talking about anything like paying bills or tangibles, or you touch this, you carry TV, you carry radio. She was joking with that, I get that. But, you know, I'm not talking about anyone. I'm talking about particularly at a spiritual and emotional level. You need to be on the same page. If you're not on the same page, everything will go wrong. And it doesn't have to be your fault. It's just you're not on the same page. It's not jelly. You know. Just be careful with what we listen to out there. Let me see. Chinye, I agree 100%, and that is why I said in Atibi show, know who you marry. Yeah, I don't even know what that means, to know who you marry. What does that even mean, to know who you marry? Because you're still getting to know each other for the rest of your life. I'm just letting you know where I come from. If she shows me, listen, patterns, right? You kind of know them after a while. That's generally what patterns does. But every now and then, a curveball, right? A curveball is thrown at you. And that's when we need a lot of the skills I'm talking about the most. When there's a curveball thrown at you, when there's crisis, that's when you need it the most. Are you able to stay calm or start questioning compatibility from day one? A lot of people do that. They end up in crisis. They start, maybe we were never compatible. So now it gets worse and worse and worse because they're looking for something to align with that bias, which is they already feel like it has to be better somewhere else. It must be that it's better somewhere else, right? The grass is greener on the other side syndrome. You know, but all I'm saying is context. When you hear some of these talking points, don't be so quick to run with them, okay? Ask, why is that person saying that? I'm talking to you that you may be the vulnerable. Anybody that could be the vulnerable. You hear some of this stuff like, what's the context? Why do you say that? Because me as a man, I'm comfortable living in a house where I don't pay rent. So there must be additional reasons why you are saying that, right? If a woman comes to me and say, I have to pay 50-50, I want to know why they say that, right? Then secondly, I would like to know if this is something they agreed to with their husband. If they're not on the same page, it doesn't matter. That's not a solution to anything. The fact that there's a crack in that wall, the devil is going to come in effectively. That's all it takes, you know? So let me see. What did you say? I agree. Okay. Well, like Mariah's husband that's safe over his dead body to take rent and school fees from his wife. Speaking of, let's go right into that. Oh Lord, this is gonna be a topic of. It's gonna be a struggle. I'll be right back. All right, so let's watch this. Mariah from TVC. She's a newscaster, TV show host, all that from TVC, and she was chiming in on that conversation. I'm glad that you brought that up. You said, well, I said, well, welp. Let me use my Akura accent. Like Mariah's husband that said over his dead body to take rent and school fees from his wife. The same questions go to him, but I want us to listen to that video. Why? The same question goes to him. Why? Why can't my wife drop some school fees? Why is that? Why does that become your... Again, I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying here. When a particular ideology becomes your God and you're trying to use that to replace unity between you and your wife, it will all backfire. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a man or woman. This is going to put some balance that people are always craving for. Okay? It's going to put some balance. Let's listen to Murayo and her husband.
Hello, Brown. Is that you? Brown. Brown cavity. Kí ló wá wọ cavity t-shirt fún?
T-shirt company mi cavity continental limited. It's not just cavity. What is it?
Ó jàre nǹkan record náà ni.
No.
She was
hey,
saying
but Patrick, good to see you, sir.
I had an interview with Tuke, I think Tuke, whatever, and she was saying that how can she and her husband be living in the same house, and no, she's not paying rent. But she feels that she and her husband should be paying rent. And lots of people are saying, "Yeah, no, that is your own. You, if you have the means, that's your business." But most people are saying that the man should be the one paying rent fully. She said that both of us are married. We're in the house. We should both be responsible for each other. So yeah,
that's a default, right? What Kiki is saying, both of us should be responsible for each other. That should be the default. It does not mean rent, right? It doesn't mean rent. It doesn't have to be rent. Oftentimes, that's the reality for a lot of people. They have to help each other out, right? But when you turn it to a God, when you turn it to an ideology, it becomes a problem. Like a lot of the talking point that people are throwing out, right? This is the same reason why when there are issues in marriages and relationships, we need to bring it down to individual, story by story, case by case, right? That's a principle. That is actually a principle. Let's hear that person's story out. Let's see where they're coming from.
No.
You don't agree?
No, I don't agree.
You don't agree with her, or you don't agree?
I don't agree with her.
Really?
I'm not going to say I don't agree with her. The husband and wife should be paying rent.
Let me change this video so you can see. I can record it properly. You don't agree with her, but you agree with her that both husband and wife should be paying together.
I don't agree with her, but I'm not saying she's wrong.
Okay. He's trying to say there are nuances to this issue, right? There are nuances to this issue. He doesn't agree. He has a different opinion, but she's not necessarily wrong, right? Now that sounds like an oxymoron, but let's see where it's going.
Okay.
Different people have different cultural, religious background values. So, but if you're looking at it from the point of view of equality, some people are of the view that the man and the woman are equal. I am not of that view. I'm not of that opinion.
You don't feel like husband and wife are equal?
I'm saying I don't think...
Wait. That's what you just said now, Baba. You don't believe husband and wife are equal, right? It's not a matter of belief. The reality... Let's pay attention here. Pay attention to me. The reality is that a husband and a wife are not equal. That's not the same thing that somebody is superior over the other person. That's not the same thing. Okay? That's not the same thing. Let me use a case now. Are you equal to your children? What would you say if I asked you, are you equal to your children? Right? If you've been following Man of Prestige for a while, you're not going to say yes or no. You'll be like, what do you mean? Context. Right? What do you mean? With respect to what? Like, in all due respect, with respect to what? What do you mean? What are we talking about here? Right? Now, superiority is an extreme. Words are important. Not as important as the person hearing it. how are they interpreting the words, right? So if somebody says superior, right, or they just look at across the board, period, a man is the price. It's like, kilo mean. Because when I met my wife, I thought I saw a price, right? Has she seen me as a price? Probably, right? It's been 19 years, right? So it depends. What do you mean? Kila and so. The human beings are much more complex than trying to bring things down to absolutes. That's the issues. That's why we talk about context. It's very, very important. But Apache says marriages are different with different. I'm not sure what he meant by that. Don't let us turn marriage into, to business, different from business. Don't let us turn marriage into business contract. Could it work anyway? It's not going to work because there's the layers of emotions involved in marriage. It's not going to work. Treat it like a business. You collect. It's not going to work. We are there to lift each other up and work together. It's literally one. It's not a Bible talk when they tell you you become one. You're literally one. And by the way, after divorce, in so many ways, you're still one. But good point, Brother Patrick. With different people in it, I meant to write. Okay, with different people. Okay. Rent, Donna. Hey, Donna. Donna says rent or mortgage and school fees are the biggest expenses. So maybe he doesn't want to feel the burden of having to pay them. No, he's saying that he nobody can share that with him. That's what he's saying. We'll get to that in a second. It could be as seen as a protective thing. It becomes your God. You need to. He needs to relax on that too. Anything you turn into like this stunt, strict rules in the middle of marriage will backfire. Marriage doesn't work like that. You need to see it as one. If you don't see each other as one, you need to back off of each other and go your separate ways because you will show each other she gay. I guarantee it. If there's any ounce. See, when Yoruba people it's a very tricky thing. All it needs is a little crack. It doesn't have to be with fight all the time. Oh no, we kind of respect each other. All it needs is just a little crack to come inside. Everything is wide open. And you wonder, we used to see them yesterday. I wonder what happened to them. Something tinting me. That's all. Just one small crack. So when you have a mindset that's almost demonstrating competition, either directly or indirectly, you need to be careful. You need to be careful if you plan to be with a person for the longest, of course. Okay. Let's see here. A Nigerian man will interpret it as being superior and the wife being inferior. Yeah, I think that's an English problem. Context matters. Okay. You see that same Nigerian man in their action. The action does not demonstrate that. That's probably an English wahala, semantics issue. Okay. Now there are some like that. When they end up in crisis, they actually try to use that manipulative, controlling thing, right? Because those words are actually dangerous. They are dangerous not for when everybody's happy, because he would treat his wife like equals. Not exactly because he's paying for everything, right? But as in like he will worship his wife when everything is good, right? That's not equal either. If a man is worshiping his wife, damn near washing his pata, washing her pata, right? That's not equal. That's somebody who is worshiping their wife. Equality does not play a role when it comes to marriage. It just doesn't. What matters is, do you complement each other? That's what matters, right? Are you on the same page, right? Somebody's looking at it on the other side. They look at one of you, they say that one is a subordinate. But it's only you two inside of it that know what you are benefiting from each other. Very, very important conversation here that when I do have chance for calling later on, and I want us to have a whole live stream talking about this, because this is something that a lot of people struggle with. They are good people, but they can't seem to realize where the devil comes in. They don't know where they can't remember when the crack started. In a German we already did that. That wives are subordinate. Yeah, that only comes in when people are in crisis, which is why the words subordinate, superior, inferior, and they start to become dangerous when they start to become talking points, right? right? Instead of saying there's no equality, I prefer to say you need to bring equity. It needs to be replaced with something, because the lanes will replace it with superiority and inferiority. Right? We can all agree that equity. Why? Because some days you're weaker than I need you to be, but I'm okay with that, because I will lift you up that day, and vice versa. Right? And when other perspective, including me, if I end up in crisis, when I start to perceive it, it might look like it's not fair. Fairness does not play a role here. You need to be careful with anything that indirectly suggests some level of competition. On surface, it might not look exactly like that, but you need to just think, you need to, including your children. When you come in through the programs, we'll tell you straight up, your children come secondary to your spouse. Why? What's my children? You're not getting it. I know what you're saying. I know, like, my children doing my first blah, 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 blah. If you care about this union, you cannot afford to leave any crack open. It will hunt you down. Why? Because there's going to be that day. That day is coming. It's going to be a little crisis. There's a little argument that happened. Somebody felt it more than the other person, because there's no such thing as equality. It's just stupid. Right? Somebody felt it more than the other person. They disagree on who offended who the most. Right? But then, because you always had this little open that, after all, my children are, they're, it's indirectly, they're superior to my spouse, because those are my blood. Literally, they say that. Remember the Akimi story? The children are the blood, not the wife who helped you create them. Those are the little cracks that the devil does not come to you and say, I'm here. When I say the devil, it's usually you, by the way, right? The devil doesn't say, I'm here to destroy your marriage. That's not how it works. These issues come from the blind spot. The thing that we're so innocent. Things like, what is wrong with, I pay 50% of the rent. They come from little things like that. It's just that now it's a different context. It's a new day, but that thing has become a god, right? And you've normalized it, but everybody is competing. Everybody is competing. I do, you do, I do. It's not a competition. What am I going to do to really drive it home? If it's a competition, stop everything. Go your separate ways. Very, very important. Hey, Fab Stolly. Hi, MOP. Like you, anybody will be comfortable living rent-free. The cocoa of this is that when the women have money and want to influence the kind of home and school the man chooses, she wants a say. That means she doesn't have a say. You're suggesting that she doesn't already have a say. Again, you're suggesting that there are crises already. So their issues is deeper than the money and the kind of home, right? And now that you sow money, it will not solve that problem, because that problem is much deeper. You get it? You get it? No?
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it.
All right. Gee, so life happens, and if life happens to a man like a husband, he might start taking it out on his wife. We need to be flexible. Listen, that's all I'm saying. If you make something your God, it's not flexible. That's all I'm saying. Okay? If you make an ideology your God, I'm open to my wife paying the rent. Okay? I'm open to it. Let me finish playing this is a part 2, by the way, of Kiki. We're going to Mariah.
A man is equal to a woman. There is a bit of something higher about
a bit of something higher. It's just making it's trying to make a case for the fact that you need to be one, but it's going the wrong direction. Of course, it's going to trigger a bunch of people now.
The man.
A bit of something higher. Higher. Okay.
So if I'm saying if you're not equal, I think the bigger burden should always be carried by the man.
Okay, let me. I'm gonna.
The whole point of equity is that It's not necessarily the same beginning, but we end up at the same place as one. Right? But it adjusts for the fact that the reality is that you and your children are not the same. You're not equal. They're in your custody. The one that's seemingly higher, this higher thing, has more responsibility. It's going to be held more accountable. That's the reality for most marriages. It doesn't matter if you help with the 50-50 rent or 25% rent or anything. When it shows up in public like everything has really kpafuka, that man is going to be held responsible. What was he looking at? How did his household become this? He's going to be held accountable. You know me, I would drag him woto. But the reality is that society will drag him woto. The wrong word is equality. It's wrong. I barely say wrong. You know that. It's just not real. It's not realistic. It's not. Okay? Even when you help your husband and you chip in a little bit here and there, you get something from that. All thanks to you that you're able to think that way. By the way, our mothers did that too. I won't tell which side because some of them are watching. My grandmothers, let's say all of them, okay? They always helped my grandfather. In fact, one of my grandfathers, according to story, I don't know how real the story is, I wasn't there, still owe money to my grandmother from the house, all the money she chipped in. The last of them passed away in 2005 or 6. They are gone. But we're still here. I have tons of cousins everywhere. We get stuck on bullshit, is my point. The reality is that wife has been helping their husband many times above and beyond when it comes to the tangibles we get stuck on. They are not relevant to what creates a household. As long as people come together, they complement each other and they have unity, no one can come there in between them. But if you have a little bit of something like this, that seems like innocent, but it's spelling competition of any type, or it's coming from a place of fear. Fear is a big deal. Fear is camouflaged sometimes as life happens. Chinye. We need to be guided. We need to be guided. We can get to the part of the solutions.
Turn this around so that you and I can show, because there's a perspective she said. She said something about if anything happens, you know, when a man and woman just scatter it, and the man will say, "Get out of my house, Crow, let me get out of the no, get out of my house." If you know that both of you are paying rent, both of you own the house, nobody can they tell you to get out of the house. So that's really
you see, you're talking about a relationship that has broken down is a totally different.
Yes.
Thing. But assuming things were going right, I think paying of the house rent should be the responsibility of the man. And I'm talking of
so he said something, and it's both right and wrong. He's right about the fact that you're talking about worst case scenario. Things are broken down. This couple looks like they're on the same page. Whatever they're doing will always work for them. Okay? If that's the reality inside, because I don't know what is going on inside, right? But the part where it's wrong is that it's not exactly wrong, but I want to spell it out. I want to add context to it. Being the responsibility of the man does not mean the man is always doing it. Right? That's two different things. The man is always paying the school fees and the rent and the mortgages. It's not the same thing as it's ultimately his responsibility. You get it? You don't get it? He's expected to assume that responsibility. Okay, and because it's part of our social construct, yes, he might struggle if he's not capable of paying it over an extended period of time. What I'm telling the gentleman is to calm down with that too. It's okay if you're in a position temporarily where your wife helps you. That's literally, if you're going by the scriptures, that's what it is. Helpmeet. And the default, the reality is that they're always helping anyway. It might not look like money, oftentimes, but they're always helping. So I'm just saying, don't, this grieving image that everybody's making up for themselves, we need to be careful. Bring it down. Tone it down. You're looking for one simple thing: being on the same page with your spouse. From where you are right now and getting to the same page is the work. You're not going to skip that work by generalized oversimplifications of ideologies. So if I pay 50-50, you will suddenly feel safer. Sure, as long as that mindset is not translating to every other area of life. Just in case you don't throw me out, or no, I want to pay half of my own car. The guy said, I want to buy you a car. You're like, no, I can't do. Are you gonna pretend like you don't know that's happening? That's happening. No, I don't want your thing, because then you come back tomorrow and be telling everybody that you bought me the car. The issues are deeper than the car. You get what I'm saying? The issues are being deeper than the car. The car is not the issue. You paying 50% of that car, that gift that somebody is trying to give you right now, it's not going to remove the underlying issue. It's not. It's actually going to get worse, because resentment is now silently being sown into that relationship. Remember, all the devil needs is a small crack.
The man who will never have to say that to his wife, that get out of my house.
Yeah, but there's situations where it happens. Life happens. Because when anybody back plan.
She just said it. Life happens. We all say that, right? The only thing where we say life happens are marriages and relationships. Life happens, so we don't say that in any other institution in the world. It's just in this marriage that we keep saying things like that, just to, make ourselves feel a little better, so we can skip the work. It's tough, it's difficult, but it's highly rewarding. Okay, especially if you've been through something, somebody has shown you shege before. Listen, I don't judge you. It's only natural that you want to protect yourself. Okay. But the awareness will go a long way. Just the awareness will go a long way that, hey, I'm trying to protect myself here. I don't mean to create a division between me and my spouse, but I'm just trying to protect myself. The idea that you are aware that this is a silent, sneaky division coming in goes a long way. A lot of people are just in the blind. They're just like, no. And then they wonder why the issues are still there. And those issues, they will keep haunting you. They will show up in another way, because, remember, they always hide out in the blind spot. And you can only see so much at any point in time.
Well, if in that case, if that's the perspective you have, if that's how you're looking at it, then maybe if they pay the rent equally, both of them will have a right. But I don't think...
Right. Another buzzword just came in.
They should pay equally. The man should take care of the shelter. That, I believe, should be the traditional responsibility of the man.
Do you think it's a feminist viewpoint where, listen, both of us must share? I don't want anybody taking responsibility for me. Both of us must be part of this solution. Nobody will be able to tell me tomorrow that I handled everything, I paid for this, I paid for that. The idea really is to get both of us to do it.
I think it's normal if a man says he pays.
It's like, why are you bringing in feminist stuff? It's still normal. As far as it's concerned, normal. As a man, I want to be responsible. I would just be careful not to put too much weight on yourself as a man. I will be careful too, like everything else, right? But I think it's part of our social construct, right? It's part of our social construct. What is it that the feminists want? I wonder what they want. They want results where men or women end up with the same equal rights, or they actually want to be equal. Those are two different things. Because if you want to be equal, does that include everything? Equal responsibility, does that include everything, right? Expectation wise, because remember, emotions is carrying a lot of weight too. It's not just, we can call the cops, we can call 911 right now. Yeah, you can. Okay. But when it comes down to the emotional connection that you have with that person, do you want them to be a man? Right? Are you as a man asking her to be an adult? when you're arguing with your wife. You collect. She will show you a child. Why? Because you're operating as a child too, probably most likely, right? She will show you more of it. Let's be guided.
For this, he pays for that. I think that's the traditional
but
role
in the
of a
new
man.
world, the new world, as a woman, I also want to feel
She
like
said new world.
I'm part of it. You can't take that full responsibility when you we are all part of this together.
Now, you see what just happened? She just threw him under the bus. She just threw him right under the bus. Voila. This is why Will Smith was like, why you put the camera in my face? Remember that video? Will Smith was like, why you have a camera in my face? Jada brought like a camera and stuff like that. Now you want to tell all 20 million monitoring spirit that you helped me pay bill one time. All right. Now, reality is that women do help, right? But do I necessarily want to have the feeling that you're throwing me under the bus on this video right now when you were asking me a question? I'm having an opinion. Do I want to feel that? Can I turn off that feeling right now? I feel like you've thrown me under a bus. I can try, but emotions no be your mates. I might just be in the funky place emotionally for the next 15 minutes before I do what's all right. If I totally say yup. Mark 3:25 King James Version. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. Baba, you are so right. Brother Patrick, that is absolute in every sense of it. You're not good. Listen. Oh yeah, people think it's only when you're actively trying to divide it. It's only evil people who are dividing it by themselves. No, that's the easy part. The rest of us, like normal good people, we're just walking around. Sometimes it's incompetence. You don't realize when you are bringing division. It's very silent. Blind spot. So if you're going to bring in some absolute, you bring absolute to as offense, right? What everybody is doing is defense. Let me defend myself. They forget that this is a game. You have to play offense too. How do you play offense? You tell your children like, no, my wife comes first. You collect. My husband comes first. Those children will never try to come between you. But if you lost the idea small that, but those children are my blood though. Life happens. These men of nowadays, they can throw anybody out at any point in time. The day you smell anything remotely close to that little thing you were nursing at the corner of your mind will grow wings. You didn't know when it came in. It was just innocent when it came in. I keep telling you, it's very simple. Go to the courthouse. Go to your county courthouse. Go and look at everybody that's going through divorce there. Are they just all bad people? No. I'll give you the answer before you go. It's not. It's good people. Good people everywhere. Collecting woto. Good people, nice guys everywhere. Getting dumped left and right. They're losing their mind.
Yes, I understand you're higher as far biblically, the man is in charge of the house, but even me as a woman, I would like to participate, don't you think?
Well, if it's a discussion you're going to have, if you're going to have that conversation with your man, and if he agrees with that, but where I'm coming from, it has never been done. I've never seen it from amongst my own people.
It's talking about the responsibility
for the man and the woman to be sharing the cost.
Well, I get upset with you.
Well, he said sharing cost. The reality is that they do share the cost for the most part. Responsibility, he's right. If he's talking about responsibility, he's right. Most of the households, is supposed to be, at least in Nigeria, maybe in the Yankees and stuff. Well, in the modern world, it's quite different. When people are working full time together and stuff, the dynamics are different. But in terms of the responsibility, the sense of responsibility is still the man. And if a man is not capable of doing that, the woman, a typical woman anywhere in the world, including all races, will start looking at him sideways. Is this a man? That's the reality. And that emotional burden is significant. And it can tear families apart if they're not aware of it. Forget that they actually both pay together at the same time. You have to separate the two. Right? Now, I do think men need to like face the reality now, that the reality is that a lot of households, women are helping them carrying that weight. In addition to having to take care of children and the household and chores and stuff like that. That is a lot. Right? But what do we know? If women subscribe to these same things, it becomes fair. Right? So even when a woman is saying, this is too much for me, another woman is saying, I beg, especially if it's their brother or their son or something like that. So what am I trying to say? You need to focus on the emotional part of all of it. Okay? If people are doing what they do and it makes them feel fulfilled, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And a lot of people are not going through that school. They're worried about, if you just do this and 50-50, you wash plate tomorrow, I wash plate tomorrow, I change diaper tomorrow, you change diaper. They think that solves their problem. It doesn't. It's nice gesture. But you know where Mr. Nice Guy ends up all the time? They come back and cry wolf and say, but I did this, I did that, but it was never enough because that wasn't the problem.
When sometimes you want to act and say, school fees, you're thinking, I'll be telling you, bro, let me suppose, no, what is that?
First of all, sweetheart, two things. For me, personally, two things. I will never expect a woman to share with a man, especially our shelter and the schooling of the children, the cost of schooling of the children. Every other thing, for example, if you...
This guy is the definition of patriarchy. It's like, Baba, like, I can't. He can't. The idea in his head is making him sick to his stomach. Right? For me, it's not that deep. If I'm in a situation, which no condition is permanent, as I always say, if I'm in a situation and my wife can help, by all means, she will fulfill our heavenly duty, which is my helpmeet. Okay? Now, I'm not going to lie that is not a heavy burden on my soul. If I don't double and triple and reward her back multiple times, folds back, I'm not resting though. It's not something I control. It's just what it is. It's the way maybe I've been socialized. It is what it is. Okay? That's what I consider being a man. Not the idea that I can't take help. I can take help. That's precisely one of the reasons why I married her, because she's an asset to me in many ways other than money. But if in this moment she can help me, then absolutely that's what we're going to do.
If you decide for now that, for example,
that days you had that you know, but you know life happens, bro.
I didn't mean
she brought in Jesus. I mean, he brought in Jesus.
You see, for example, now, if for example you come now and you tell me that you have budgeted 60 million naira for vacation, that for summer you want to spend 60 million, honestly, I would gladly applaud you and I won't complain. It's your money. You can spend. If you even ask for my own contribution, I will add to it. But I will not let my wife be the one paying for the school fees of my children or the shelter over my head.
If I had a chance to speak to him, right, I would just be like, just say, I will not let my wife take on the responsibility. I am always open to take help. This is some of the struggles that men have. I am always open to taking help. And by the way, if you're open to taking help, it makes her feel safe. That works better than her saying, no, by force, I must pay 50-50. Right? Because it's coming from a place of, we're one. See, the same actions can be coming from a place of, the same action, right? The same actual event and action can come from two different places. One is coming from a place of competition. The other is coming from a place of we're one. The same activity, the same action, the same events, but completely different context, completely different motives. You get it?
You get it? Okay. If you don't get it, forget about it. All right.
So when you say no, when you demonstrate that, no, of course I'm open to ideas from my wife, it's much more powerful than when she feels the need to, like, no, I need you to take my idea too. Take my idea too. I need to have a say too. Yeah, they're just different. They're different, right? So now, as a lady, should you wait until a man is able to do that? No, I'm not saying you should wait, but I'm letting you know that if you force it down their throat, it's not going to work either. The work is going to be much more bigger than a 50-50 formula. That's all I'm saying. Chia said, no condition is permanent equals to life happening. Yeah. It's like you were reading my mind, right? Same activity, same talking point, semantics, different contexts, different emotional build-up, emotional dynamics, same activity. I just want us to be aware that we cannot skip the work. Cookie cutter formulas like 50-50, including 100-100 will not work. 100-100, if you know math, is the same thing as 50-50. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. It's the same thing. Okay? Nati says, what is a maid that provides financially but is not present? What if a man that provides financially is not present? African men need to wake up. What do you mean by present? You mean physically present? Because people can be present and not present physically. What do you mean? Can you elaborate? I think Brother Patrick said the man is a real traditional man. Listen, Brown, as the wife fondly calls him, he's not budging.
Are you?
I have a problem with
So Kiki has her own point of view, and I'm not saying it's crazy. I'm not saying it's unacceptable.
I'm not saying it's crazy, but it's crazy.
I'm just saying it's a different point of view. It's a different perspective about life. And I don't hold that view. I don't have that perspective. And I'm not condemning anyone who has it. You don't know Kiki's background. You don't know how much her background, her religion.
This is true. We don't know where she's coming from. Again, that spells out defense. You don't win a game by playing defense only. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Things around have influenced her into coming to that position where
no one will be able to score on you. You're right. It's like prenup. But you still collect because you'll be left behind. There's a whole league. There's a marketplace. There are people playing the game, right? You'll be left behind.
She's in. That may be the position of the modern woman. That may be the global position. I don't know. But I peculiarly, I have my own background, my own religion, my own beliefs. And all those things combined have told me that, look, you have to provide shelter and provide for the shelter of your.
Yeah. It's repeating the same point. I subscribe to the idea that a man is responsible for those things. The reality is that women help above and beyond with those things. That's the reality. A man needs to get up to speed and be okay with that, because that, after all, she's supposed to be your helpmate, right? And also, that when you're open to that, when it shows in the way you make your speech, it makes her feel safer. She probably won't run around media talking about she has to pay 50-50 either. Okay. So what Kiki said to me demonstrate that there's other things she's defending something, and she said it herself. That way, that one day I can take the TV, you can take the radio. She said it herself, so I'm not putting words in her mouth. I'm just letting you know that place where you're coming from, that's a crack that I will not let it. I will just be careful so that doesn't grow out of proportion. Let me see. That was exactly what I meant initially when I said life happens. Oh, text. Sorry, I might have taken it out of context. Is physically present but does not help at all. Okay, the person demand that does not help at all. If a man is physically present, does not help at all, the first step is to first of all express how you feel about that to him. Okay? Now, if you have to do that more than twice or second time, I would definitely engage. What is it that he cares about? He cares about something. He's still with you because he cares about something. Seduction. You need to know what that is. Okay? You need to know what that is. Once you know what that is, I will see if I can incorporate that into how to present how I feel again. Okay, if that's not working, I will seek personal counseling if I were you. Okay, after you seek personal counseling, they might be able to help you with regards to getting to the results you're looking for. Okay, all right. So again, we're launching our counseling program in December, so just be on the lookout for that. For now, there are other people out there that do counseling. There's Dr. Shola on YouTube. There is Pastor Kingsley. They're also on YouTube. You can find links in their community pages and stuff. Okay. All right. So let's see. Chia says, I believe she means providing financially, but does not participate in any other aspect of the relationship. Yeah, you need to, that financially, you need to, okay, I'm going to inject a step into it. That financially that is providing, I will zone in on that, and I will expand on it. Okay, I will basically, how do I say it? I will focus in on that, and the fact you appreciate the financial part, right? I will make it known to him clearly that I appreciate that financial aspect of things. And then I will incorporate that together again with talking about how you feel with regards to everything else, right? And then again, beyond money, as always, there's something that he cares about. Once he knows that you care about what he cares about, everything else becomes easier. Listen to what I just said. Once he knows that you care about all the other things that he cares about, everything else will become easier. Now, what I just said is easier said than done. So you might need support system, you might need counseling to help you navigate through that. Okay, that's going to be easier said than done. All right. Like bonding with the children or being emotionally involved with your wife or doesn't. Yeah, I know, I get it, completely get it. All right, so let's leave Mr. and Mrs. Brown alone and let's get to the main topic of the day. This conversation went beyond what I thought, but you know how this goes. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Let's talk about Uncle RMD. I call him Uncle because I've seen him in that light before. So if you remember, I told a story here when we were covering the Two-Face story, Two-Face and Annie Idibia, right? When we were covering that story. If you remember, I talked about the one movie set I've ever been on in my life. One of my friends in New York City invited me to that set. And I was on that set, and there were a couple of superstars on that set. One was Annie Idibia, and there was a rock star on that set as well. And that was RMD. So it was a privilege because RMD is huge. It's bigger than life. And this was I was hanging out all day with them as they were, getting in character, coming out of character. Everybody sitting around just talking in what you might consider, I don't know if they call it green room or not, right? So I see him as, like, he reminds me a lot of some of my uncles, So RMD was on Teju Babyface show. Shout out to Instablog Nigeria. I'm just going to play the clip that they put up here. But it was on Teju Babyface show, and he said something that I'm like, you know what? This would be an interesting thing to talk about, to extract one or two lessons from. So, and that's what we're going to do right about now. But before I get into that, there's this story that I saw. Let me see. Is it still here? Yes. That I thought was interesting. RMD is a married man. I think for the longest, a lot of people didn't know he was married. But I think a lot of people, if you're old enough, you remember that he had a first wife that was 5 years older than him. And I stumbled into this story on jojonaija.com. Let me share this with you. It says, RMD's first wife, what you may not know. This is RMD. Let me see. I'm just going to read that. It says, Richard Mofe-Damijo, known famously by the how do you pronounce that? Subriquet? Oyinbo, you did me like this. Anyway, RMD is without a doubt one of Nigeria's most desirable men. For decades, the Warri-born legendary actor, producer, and former Delta State Commissioner for Culture and Tourism has enchanted audiences with his stagecraft and elegant demeanor. Despite being in the public eye for so long, RMD has always managed to evade controversies. All right, I'm sure somebody's going to try to make controversy out of this one we're covering today. Bokoli work. RMD is married to Jumobi Adegbeson, a former TV girl who once anchored a breakfast show on AIT in the 2000s. Indeed, many of his fans and followers may be unaware that the renowned actor was previously married to another well-known media figure. Her name, they said is, but I guess it should be was. Her name was May Ellen Ezekiel, later May Ellen Mofe-Damijo. May Ellen Ezekiel, also known as MEE, was the legendary actor's first wife. She was born in Ghana and has worked for numerous Nigerian news organizations, including Sunday Concord, Newswatch, and others. She went on to become the editor of the new defunct Quality magazine. MEE later founded Classic magazine and became its publisher. Dele Momodu, you see young Dele Momodu there, Ben Charles Obi, and Rudolph Okonkwo. I know Rudolph Okonkwo used to be with Sahara Reporters, now has his own YouTube channel. He's here, I think he's here in New York somewhere. They were among the journalists that worked for the publication. She also produced and hosted the television talk show Me and You on NTA Channel 5, Lagos. Me also wrote a few books, including Dreammaker and Center Spread. Look at her back then, Jesus. This picture captions May Ellen Ezekiel, MEE, and RMD at the wedding. Oh, at the wedding of Dele Momodu, CEO of Ovation magazine at Ijebu-Igbo, Ogun State, December 19, 1992. That year then, I was in GSS 2. Wow. Let's see. On a personal note, she was once in a marriage that did not last. The marriage produced a daughter named Nicole Onome. At the peak of her career, she married Richard Mofe-Damijo, a then fledgling actor who was 5 years younger. RMD should be about 62 or something like that right now. 63, something like that, sure. So she might have been closing in on 70 if she was alive. Well, she passed. Yeah, let me just say that right now. In March 23, 1996, she died during the fibroid operation at the private hospital, Providence Hospital in Surulere, Lagos. According to the doctor, it was a strange and unusual occurrence that baffled the 6 doctors who thought they were handling a routine surgery to remove the fibroid from her. Me, that's her name, her nickname, had 2 surgeries earlier also to remove fibroid. This led to the second surgery, which led to her death. She was aged 39. In 2000, RMD got married to his second and current wife, Jumobi Adegbeson. The marriage is blessed with kids. The multi-award-winning actor has 5 children, 4 biological and 1 adoptive from his former marriage to May Ellen Ezekiel. That was young RMD, and this is RMD with his first daughter that he adopted. All right, so now while we're talking about RMD today, there's this video that I'm gonna play right now, and it made it to Instablog Nigeria about 9 hours ago. I'm gonna play it right now, and then we'll look at some other stuff.
Is almost like that one, but it's different. Being faithful in marriage is not. Look, I have to say this well before I'm misquoted by somebody. Tej Babyface said, "Being faithful is hard." That's not what I'm saying. It is hard. It is hard. It's not every.
All right, so they both agreed that being faithful is hard. Okay, so what do we say to that now? So men cannot control themselves? And the usual response, like, oh, why are we here when we're talking about men cannot control themselves? Like I always tell you, ask, what do you mean? Let's hear the rest of it, right? Before you make a conclusion to what they're trying to say, let's get to the rest of it.
Continue.
Yes.
See, because if you're in the kind of line of work that we are in, it's very hard because let's face it.
In the line of work that they are in is very hard. Let's face it. Now, how does that relate to us? We're not celebrities, right? Well, first of all, let's give Yule. Ladies, can we give Yule and what's his name? What's the other guy's name? What's his name now? Makanaki. What's his real name? Nino B, right? Can we give Yule and Nino a pass? It's hard, right? It's hard, right? Now, first and foremost, I agree that it is hard. Okay? I agree that it's hard. But listen carefully, okay? It's hard. It's like when people say marriage is hard. I always ask them, kila mean? Right? Are you talking about just like anything that's worthwhile in life? It's hard. It takes work. It takes effort, right? Why? Because if it was that easy, everyone would be doing it, right? Let's continue.
Every one of us that is married, we are the target.
We are the target. Let me translate that to regular people for you. If you're a man of value, you become a target. Okay? Now, what value do we get out of an RMD, a Yule Edochie? Well, before now, I don't know. Probably still, forget that thing. Even till now, a Yule Edochie, Nino B. What value? Well, they are entertainers. They are entertainers, right? So they become a target. When you are a target by things or people or entities that desire you, right? You just better hope to God, right? You better hope to God. Well, no, not so simple, right? Not so simple. We're not going to leave it in the hands of God. We have a responsibility. Okay, the first step in that responsibility is to first of all be aware that you are not an angel. First of all, be aware that it's not good enough that you're a nice guy, right? It's not good enough that you're righteous. Your righteousness in the eyes of God is like what? Our righteousness in the eyes of God. Can somebody help me? In the eyes of God, and in the grand scheme of things, actually, to be honest with you, our righteousness in the eyes of God is like what? Yeah, I think that makes my point. Hey, thank you, Tammy. You're always hiding behind the scenes. Tammy, why are you doing this to me? Like filthy garment. Okay, like filthy garment. When you are a person of value in particular, okay, but even additional layer. When you're a man, he said we're a target. Listen, let's keep going. If you're a man of value, you become a target. The same thing if you're a woman of value, of course, you become a target. Remember that Tyrese story we just covered? What was Tyrese doing? Allegedly. Yeah. Emotions, not be your mate. Okay? Keep that at the back of your mind.
We are the target. I mean, look at how women are.
How are women?
How can you escape it?
How can you escape it? Ladies, take this as a compliment, okay? Relax. Compliment, okay? How can you escape it? Particularly if you're a man of value. I'm not talking about lames, okay? Lames don't have this problem. They in fact, they resent women for not wanting them, okay? And it's not a crime to be lame. It just means you lack game. There's time to learn something new, okay?
You know, women are like Delilah.
Wait. He said Delilah. This is the part where the other brother, the other coach, where he said women are brutal. Wait, that's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. He said women are Delilah. You know, women oftentimes when they've collected, have gone through shege in their life, they disconnect from their seductive power. But only if they knew how much power is in that stuff, right? Shout out to the person that asked me a question earlier. Oh, was it Natu? Yeah, Natu, right? Only if you know the kind of power that you have, right? Like, I'm not saying men are weak. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, don't take me out of context, okay? Let's stay here, right? But he said women are like Delilah. Let's continue.
They are like Jezebel.
Uncle said they are like Jezebel. Somebody said Jezebel. No. Wait. Do you know the full story of Jezebel? Relax now. It's not. See, that's the lames out there. They're always calling masculine women Jezebel, and they think they're shaming somebody. They have no idea. That actually it's like a compliment. You're just saying you're weak. Right? They call Jada Pinkett a Jezebel. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what you're talking about. You can try to use it to shame, but only if you have an idea. He said they're like Delilah, they're like Jezebel. He's picking his words wisely, and he's doing that because he's probably thinking like somebody's going to try to take this out of context, like Ted, you said earlier, right? Let's keep going.
They prepare.
He said they prepare. Okay. Prepare doesn't mean they intentionally want to get you. But if you're a man of value, well, it's not a crime that they want to get you, right? But let's keep going.
And the only way you can perpetuate the real intentions.
The only way you can perpetuate the real intentions of who? Wait for it.
The enemy.
Of the enemy.
Is to constantly.
Is almost like that.
Wait, he said the enemy. Somebody said, wait, so women are enemy? No, there's context. Okay, wait, relax. Let's go to the next slide.
At the image of God or the symbol of authority in any home.
The only way to perpetuate, I don't know if I won't be able to rewind. I'll have to play all over again. Is to look at the image of God, authority. He's trying to make a point here, right? Let's keep going.
You shoot it down. It's like being a general. It's like being a commander,
It's like being a general. You shoot it down. It's like being a general. Let me come back to the chat. I bet some of you are already saying what he's thinking. Okay, he's trying to describe something here. Let me come to the chat. It's like poro. Let's see. Donna says it's hard if you struggle with the word no. Well, why would I want to say no to something that I might secretly desire? You know, maybe not yet. You know, I might want to say no to something I desire. You're right. Actually, you're actually right. Also, some men don't like to disappoint women. Those ones don't get kwekus. The ones that get the most kwekus are the ones that disappoint women all the time. Just letting you know now, okay? Because they don't like they get enough of it. So it's not. Remember, they're the target of many. Okay, which makes them vulnerable to strain. All right, good point. Anyway, nonetheless. Simisola, hello. SFS says there's too much temptations, but temptations aren't meant to be overcome, especially when you are in a loving and committed relationship. You just need to be more, that's the word, discipline. If you don't have the mindset of a general, if you have problem with authority, ladies, you have problem with submission, oftentimes because of the woto from the past, I get it, but the real meaning of submission is something that men have to do as well. It's basically the respect for authority, right? The whole idea of God. That's the point. Okay? That's the whole idea of discipline. If it was that easy for me, there's no need for discipline. I need discipline precisely because if you're a man of value, you become a target, meaning it's not always simple to just say no to sin, because you're not seeing sin, you're seeing desire. Oftentimes you're seeing somebody desire you. There's nothing better than desire than the person desiring you. Okay? Pay attention. You just need to be more disciplined. How do you be more disciplined? Hey baby, what do you want? Can you go back upstairs? You're playing stuff. Come here, come and say hello. Come and say hello first. Say hi. Say hi. Oh, they can't see you. Let's see if they can see you a little bit. Say hello. Look through here. Say hi. Wave.
Say hi.
Okay, now bye. Take that away from here. Thank you. Go. Far. Bye-bye. All right. Discipline, you don't say discipline, calm down, it just comes. If it was that simple, everybody would be doing it. Oh, by the way, everything I'm saying goes for you too, ladies. Okay, just so you know, if you become a person of value in the eyes of the beholder, you become a target. Same concept. Okay, but he's talking to as a person who has his own experience as a man, as desired. Remember, is one of the most desirable men in all of Nigeria entertainment. That means that's actually been said on media. That means it's actually taking on life of his own, right? So even if a person doesn't find an RMD cute in the first place, when 2 or 3 other ladies say, that's the zaddy, they catch it. It's contagious. So even if they're wrong, it's contagious. Doesn't matter, because emotions no be your mate, right? That's how that works. So discipline, you don't just snap your finger and discipline falls out. That's where he's going with this, okay? And he just talked about authority and God. When you have that, you shoot it down. He called it the enemy. He's not calling women enemy. There's context here. I'm helping him. It was harder to help the Baba from yesterday that called women brutal. It was a lot more harder, right? This one is a little bit easier because I talk about seduction here all the time, right? The enemy is not necessarily the person being enemy. It's like the enemy is something out to get you. You fight not the flesh. The flesh becomes your enemy. Your own flesh becomes your own enemy. I say that here all the time. Anytime you see me reference devil or Satan, or oftentimes what I mean is actually your own flesh, your own weakness. I'm just being honest with you. The devil is not going to come down in black garment, right? He comes in the form of your own weakness. Okay? If you don't have that crack, the devil cannot enter. It's literally impossible. Literally impossible. Okay? Timmy says, it's serious kilo day. He's describing something now. Don't say RMD, that's too funny. So many excuses justifying indiscipline. Oh, Simisola, I bet you changed that. Let me scroll down a little bit. Did you change that so far? Did you change it? Simisola, come back and change that. He's literally talking about discipline, but discipline doesn't fall out of the skies. You need to be positioned for it. If you don't respect authority, God, it's a massive blind spot. Okay? The enemy will get you, especially if you're desirable, if you're a person of value. What does it mean to be of value? Literally, everybody wants a piece of that. Not even all of it, a piece of it. They don't care if they break your home, a piece of it. And it comes from a blind spot because you will desire it directly or indirectly. You might just try to take a small bite and that might be all you need to destroy your home. That's what he's describing. But he gave the solution. He said authority and God. Let's keep going here.
Battlefield, you drop him and the enemy, the battalion scatters.
So this is what I heard. This is what I heard, that
let me go back a little here.
Even the women themselves may not know, but they are probably the ones who come after us, very determinedly, who want to make it happen. They're probably tools in a greater scheme that they may not know, and it's about taking down the head of the family.
It's about taking down the head of the family. A lot of this is subconscious, okay? I know it's difficult sometimes. You might even be like, no, that will never be me. Me? No. Wait now, relax. That's just the way you are in life right now. It's okay. There's a good chance it will never be you. But when this thing that we're talking about is playing out, maybe you're the victim there's an enemy. The enemy attacks the head. Pay attention to what we're saying here. There's all kind of metaphors going on right now. The enemy, that's why I keep trying to tell the men. He's going to attack the head. It's not going to seem like the obvious stuff. It's going to be like, it's going to feel innocent. You're just doing the right thing. As far as you're concerned, just the right thing. Right? But when the enemy is trying to attack, it goes for the head. The head is the most valuable part of the body. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Come on. Come on. Somebody help me in the chat. Come on, come on. You get it? No?
You get it? If you don't get it, forget about it.
The most valuable part of the body is the head. Without the head, not everything else. You can chop off everything else. Okay? To a large extent, you can chop off a lot. So the enemy goes for the head. This is what I keep trying to tell men. Stop trying to compete with women. It doesn't matter if women say they want equality. Sure, you can have equality. It's not real anyway. They just want to feel like they're equal. It's a feeling. They don't want to feel like subordinates. If you guys are in a good space, that takes care of itself. If you're in a funky place, one of the first things they point fingers at is equality. But it's actually, it was never real. But it becomes real because feelings are just as real as perceptions is and everything else. But the head, okay? The head is what the enemy goes for. And the first way he goes for it is it puts you in a position of vulnerability. It makes you to start to feel like you need to compete. Right? You start competing for Allah's pandering. Allah panders to women. So let me ask him to pander to me too. Baba, you're supposed to be a king. That's a blind spot for you. You should be too busy for that. And if your household is not settled, then we need to address the issue. Because that's not the issue. Is not that Allah panders to men. Maybe you have social intelligence issue. That's something we can address as well. The issue is that thing that's going on personally. The enemy attacks the head. Not just man. I'm not talking man now. Ladies, you could be the head at your job. If you're going to be taken down, wherever it looks like the head is the best point of leverage. That's part of power intelligence. You take that out, everything else becomes easier. So in your family, the context, wherever the head is, wherever you consider the head to be, it's your responsibility, if you have vested interest, to protect it with everything in you. Because once you take that out, everything else crumbles. Let's keep going.
That's it. That's what the mission is.
Wow.
The mission is to take out the head. You didn't see that coming, did you?
The mission is. So it's very difficult. You have to get to a point where your wife understands what she's up against as well.
You have to get to a point where your wife understands what she's up against. Now, this is not a guarantee. You go out there, you cheat on your wife. No guarantee. She might just dump your ass and then you'll be out on the internet talking about you're making a PR statement. Bro, relax. This topic we're talking about has to encompass everything. You can't isolate issues and just say, oh, well, no. That's not what this is. But the reality is that people's quote unquote idea of morals, their moral compass is the least of the issues. Is the least of the issues. What is more of an issue is that whatever that moral compass you subscribe to, does your partner subscribe to it as well? If they don't, there's problems. It doesn't matter how perfect your moral compass, your religion is. If your spouse does not subscribe to the same thing, that is you're committing a crime. It's that do not be unequally yoked. It's not going to work. So he's saying that the wife need to understand what is at hand, what is at stake too, because for them, when you consider that level of value, right, there are going to be things you will see, right, that will tamper with your security level all the time. When you are exposed, you remember monitoring spirits all over the place, right? 20 million monitoring spirits, right? When you are that exposed to so many attentions, you will engage that. You will go in the comment. So you better know what you're subscribing to. This is true at non-celebrity level. It's also even more so true at the celebrity level. So he's saying the wife needs to understand that the enemy is coming for the head. And sometimes it looks like the enemy is just the culprit. Sometimes it looks like that, right? This is not manipulating you to stay in terrible abusive situation. It's just I'm letting you know that there are some things that's just, you need to make sure you know what you're doing. That's all.
Oh yes, because if your wife is not up to speed on or what she's up against, then you aim at the
if your wife is not up to speed to what she's up against, what else?
Your flanks will be left open.
Oh, your flank. What is flank? Somebody help me with that. Your flank will be left open. I have an idea what he's talking about. It's basically exposure. Okay, remember the cracks in the wall? Be left open. It has nothing to do with somebody do the wrong thing or the right thing. We're all going to, no one only pass. Nobody's only pass. Okay. No one is only pass. It's not an excuse to commit unfaithfulness. That's not what we're talking about. Okay. But the reality is that no one only pass. Right. But we're talking about the crack, right? If your wife is not up to speed what she's up against, when we're talking about the attack against the family structure, the attack against family structure, not marriage, forget marriage, the family structure, the attack against it as the cornerstone of our society, when we're talking about the attack against that, right? If the women are not, it's a wrap, it's over, because the men need help, but they're not going to ask for help by shaming the women. That's what I often disagree with.
Oh yeah. So if there is no harmony on that field, I saw TDG.
If there's no harmony on you in that field, Amuri
speak about this, and I was so impressed. He said, "If you want to know who's got my back, jump me."
If you want to know who has my back, jump me. Let's go into some comments and then round up. Somebody say, I know this man DM will be messy. You see what somebody said? 9 hours ago. I know this man's DM will be messy. Because he's a man of value. That's why. Right? But he's saying with God and the fact that he respects authority, as a general, you shoot that down. You don't mess around. He actually continues into the conversation. He talks about he doesn't go to club unless it's something very important. See, it's about positioning yourself. That's what I've been talking about. You have to position yourself to win. You're not as capable as you think you are. Your righteousness is a filthy rag. If you think it's that powerful, you just haven't been tested yet in life. Okay? You haven't been through anything yet. It doesn't go to club, because once you go to club, right, it's like somebody like, oh, it's just strip club, it's not a big deal. You see people normalizing that. You go to strip club every time, you'll fall. I don't know what you think you're dealing with. We're dealing with human beings here. I don't know what you think you're dealing with. It's completely unrealistic. You see a lot of people in Atlanta talking about, oh, it's not a big deal. We all do it. Like, okay, you went there to eat chicken wings, Abby. Continue. Continue. Somebody said, on a serious note, to be a faithful man is not hard. Truth be told, to be a faithful husband will save you money, strength, peace of mind. That's something that you only understand with time. Okay, that's something that you only understand with time. And then in terms of peace of mind, sometimes the devil presents peace of mind to you on a silver platter like this. What do you want? Peace of mind? I got you. Remember what he did to Jesus, right? And mama, don't be deceiving yourselves. Troubles and sanity. You get home tired and throw your phones on the table and sleep so well without worrying about your wife going through them. This is coming from RMD, so y'all will agree with him and bash me on this. No, you're wrong. It's not a matter of celebrity. At every level you are, if you're valuable enough, you're a target. it might not show up in the form of faithfulness to your wife. It might show up in a different way. The point in this is that you need to position yourself to win. You need to have systems. You need to have systems that represents authority around you. If not, you're just a human being like the rest of what? Women included. Women included. Remember that DJ Envy story? They pushed Tyrese back because honestly, somebody is making you feel comfortable enough. You're talking to him. Like she said, she'll be talking to him on the phone right next to her husband on the bed sometimes. That's all they need. They need to get you comfortable. They will fall into the purpose by mistake. You will fall on Bola. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. You need to position yourself to win and stop counting on righteousness so much. Okay? Discipline precisely is much more powerful than righteousness. Discipline is hard, is the point. Don't deceive yourself. Don't deceive yourself. Trust me, when some guys love one woman, they don't see another woman. Nah, that's not how life works. That's completely irrelevant to the topic, but many people won't get it. So it's okay. Let's go back to my Prestige family here really quickly. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Listen, we can't complete this conversation today, okay? Remember, we're 4,000 subscribers deep. We have to continue. We have to continue the conversation, okay? So today, no be today, okay? We will continue, okay? We will continue to rub minds together and extract some of this, some of the greatest lessons, okay, that you can get. As a matter of fact, RMD may not even mean anything I'm saying, okay? But just take it. Just take it, okay? Think about it. Use it as an opportunity to learn that maybe there's another angle to right and wrong. That's just wrong. Just be disciplined. Well, discipline does not just fall out of the skies because you snap your finger. If you're a person of value, if you're a person of interest, that's another way of saying it, you become a target. And your enemies knows what you like. They know that you'd like to play holier than thou. They will present Jesus to you and you will fall. I grew up in church. I know what I'm talking about, okay? I can't tell you how many brothers and uncles and evangelists have impregnated people right there inside of the pulpit. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. Let's keep going. Shout out to RMD for this awesome lesson. Simisola, did you change it yet? At least let me hear some context, at least, Simisola, even if you still stay on the same. Filthy rag, thank you, brother Patrick. Discipline, Misanji, yep, discipline. So the main point here is that many of you get it right, discipline, right? But how do you get to discipline? Is that something you snap your finger and it just comes? Or there's some step-by-step process to have discipline? That's the main point here, okay? That's the whole point about it's hard, okay? Then I said, Lord have mercy. Wahala, confusion, serious confusion. Was it that deep? Wasn't that deep? Free from all appearance of evil. Yeah, you can't listen. That's it. You know, I'm being patient to allow him to land. Now, Chinye. That's what I'm talking about. I need that sound effect. Now. Yeah, I need that sound. Then I will have a response. I hope you have the response yet. Flee from sin. Irene, hi, sweetie. You guys are greeting each other. Oh, cute. Oh, you're talking about my baby girl. Oh, that was like days ago. Ola, she's growing up so fast and she's looking more and more as you. She used to look more as your wife. Hey, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that, you know. Samson anointing differs from Joseph anointing. They were both tempted by a woman. One fell, the other triumphed. Preach, Baba, preach, Baba, preach, Baba. You know, one of my biggest weaknesses is that I'm not really a Bible scholar. I know, like the verse he mentioned earlier, I know that verse, the James verse, right? I know those verses. I extract them as I need them, but I'm not really a scripture, quoting scripture person like that, Maybe, actually, I think maybe because I've seen so many atrocities from people that are the best scripture quoters. So see finish don't enter for me. It's like, yeah. But I know where to go when I need them. And I know that the Bible is such a holistic, complete book. I know that for a fact. There's nothing I'm looking for literally, right? My father today, earlier on, he sent me the video of the Baba coach from TikTok, Baba Okonlawon. And what my father said was something to the effect that this might made a lot of points. I said, yes, 80% correct. The 20% rest of it, maybe 10% is dangerous. And then my father called me and then we started talking. And I said, yeah, that angle you're coming in, like, yeah. Because my father now said Yoruba. Brother Patrick, maybe you can put it in English for me. Okay. Maybe you can put it. Let me drop this. Maybe I don't know if you guys want to comment or not. I'm still here for a few more minutes, right? He now said, Ogun Efori, Berry Okinshe Ogun Efori. Is that how he said it? Or berry? Like, you don't cut off a head as a solution to headache. That's basically what that Baba was doing yesterday, right? So his 5 points or 7 point solution was essentially cutting off the head, right? As a solution to all the problems that he clearly, accurately stated, right? In the worst way ever of talking, right? But his solutions were basically just cut the head off. You need the head. You need the head, right? So either we're talking about Yoruba proverbs, or we're talking about the Bible. It's such a complete. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile all of my favorite verses in the Bible that helps with relationship, right? There are enough people out there who are saying the Bible is patriarchy, don't follow it. The wala is just too much, but we're here for the conversation. Let's see. Chia said yes, it makes sense. Finally, one thing that I have come to understand, SFS, is one thing I understand, that the more disciplined you become, the more self-aware you become. Yes. Discipline comes from value, okay? If you don't build up value first, right? Sometimes the value is what I mean is that there are things you actually care about. When you connect, the idea of discipline doesn't exist without value. You have that discipline because you're setting your eyes on a prize. That price could be a more settled life. It could be what that guy just tried to describe to discount what RMD is saying, which is strength, peace of mind. But a lot of those things called peace of mind, all those kind of things, if you don't break it down properly into pieces, the devil can actually give you his own version. That's why we have to be careful. And then you think you're being disciplined, but you already fell. Context matters in everything, right? You came to a place where temptation becomes undesirable. Now let's see. Uncle well spoken. Okay, he's been speaking well since. The conversation makes no logical sense. How do you justify cheating? Make it make sense. Cheating is not justified. Human behavior is justified by default. You see the difference, right? Cheating is not justified. Cheating is precisely wrong. Just like stealing and lying, right? Lying is betrayal. Hello, Lady Navoa, good to see you. Lying, you are betraying another person. You are intentionally stating the opposite of a truth and you are aware of it. So oftentimes, even when I say people are lying here, when it's not unintentional, when it's unintentional, it's not exactly lies. That's what they believe in. A lot of them believe in that. And I want you to move with that level of grace so that you can get to the solution you're looking for. But what majority of you do is you start calling it lying. Instantly, they're lying. And you completely disconnect from the idea that people are having different experiences. And then you create even worse results, right? Because you already called it a lie. So they are wrong. So there's no room to have this conversation since they are just wrong. Well, here's the issue. People are cheaters. People will cheat when it feels right. Feelings on the line. feelings. Okay, so the devil can show up and present to you what looks like you're doing the right thing, and you can be completely disconnected. You can be in a very funky place in life that you don't even care. Honestly, you even know you're doing something wrong, but you're like, you know, I've been doing all this right thing all along. It's better I do what is wrong. Since there's no benefit, disconnect from value. You see what I'm saying? At least from where you're standing, right? But oftentimes you shoot yourself more on the legs because you don't have that foresight. You can't see that far. As far as you can see, you need to survive emotionally. So people will do what is, remember, is wrong. They might try to come back and justify it with BS. In this case of this explanation today, it's not justifying the act. It's having you understand that the enemy is never resting. That's all we're trying to say. The enemies is not resting. The enemy is not your mate. Okay? Actually, it can be. You can beat the enemy, but you need to understand the game beyond right and wrong. If you're stuck on right and wrong, the enemy will get you all the time. All the time. Because all they do is give you illusion of right and wrong. They'll give you the illusion of right and you will do it. And then you find out that it was wrong all along. Anyway, I hope that makes sense so far. I know I'm going back to 13 minutes ago now, so I don't know if you've already gotten it yet. Tell me. On a silver platter of kwekus. See, why can't people that like to cheat marry each other? Won't that be a fun marriage? No, it won't be cheating at that point. Tell me, stay with me, tell me, Tell me, stay with me. If we both marry each other and we're cheaters and we're aware of it, it's no longer cheating. It doesn't have the same. It's no longer an escapism at that point. We can unpack it. I promise you, it's not justifying cheating. Cheating is always wrong. It's just for you to understand that you have power. That's all I'm trying to spell out for you. You do have more power than what it looks like when you're stuck in right and wrong. When you're stuck in right and wrong, you feel powerless because everyone else seems to be doing the wrong thing. And you feel powerless. You feel like you can't help yourself. And then you engage in manipulative and controlling behavior, trying to get people to do, quote unquote, the right thing. Whereas your power is in the form of influence. Okay? Your power is not in controlling other human beings. Okay? If you're married to a cheater, you have the power to walk away. That's always true. Right? But if you're trying to understand what is going on here, if we're coming down to a level of understanding, you have to understand that human behavior does not give a shit about right or wrong or logic. It doesn't. They don't care. They don't give a shit. Okay? When it's time to take one, I need one. They don't care. Because they are weak in the knees at that point in time. And then you're in a position where, you've been blessed. You don't see it as blessing, you just see it as discipline. I'm just a disciplined person. You don't see your parents raising you as a certain way as blessing. You just think it's you're doing all along. Humility. Relax. We're still trying to get to the same point, but we need to understand some things before we get there. Because you're going to be raising children. You're going to be influencing a lot of people around you. You need to understand, right, that even the idea of moral compass that you have was presented to you by some people who said, these people have a need for right and wrong. Let's show them what right and wrong is. Right? It's deeper than today. Okay, we will keep having the conversation. Okay? Timmy is like, help me. Only God knows the amount of body parts flying in his DMs. Hey, Jesumi. He probably blocked the DM. Yeah, he's probably better for him to. Because if he keeps opening such DMs, brotherly, I don't care how much discipline you have. If you have a human brain inside that place, even if you're a woman, I know we kind of think of women as non-cheaters, which is obviously not accurate. But I'll let you go. I'll let you have that. Okay. The devil will give one pieces of mind. Yeah, he will present it as peace of mind. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, we hit 4,000. We did it. 19 thumbs up out of 26. I have 20. Can you imagine? Don't do me like this now. Hit that thumbs up. I beg. Hit the like button. Thank you, Lady Navora. Hit that thumbs up. We're missing about 6 of them. It's not the same as the thrill of hiding to steal kwekus. It's not the same thing. Okay? There's a certain level of value you get in being faithful with one person that comes with time. It comes with a certain level of experience that will beat the value you get from secrecy. There's an excitement that comes from secrecy for all of us. Okay, stop the cap. Okay, there's a certain level of excitement that you get from secrets.
Stop the cap.
You will need a certain level of value on the other end of a faithful relationship. It might come in the form of SFS says values and standards. That's correct, right? But that standard, you value it for a reason. It could also be generation upon generations. They've conditioned you to it. So you think of it as the end or be all for a reason, but you're still a human being. Until somebody make you start to question your survival or question your safety. And then you start to rethink standards because there's a disconnect from values. All right, let's keep let me keep going here. I've been here for a few weeks. Yeah, sometimes I do take off, but I'm always dropping videos. Shout out to you, Lady Navarra. I appreciate you. Your values and standards will protect you. Yeah. Yes. So now it's a matter of you need to identify what you want. Ultimately, long term. What you want short term is oftentimes deception from the devil. It feels good in the moment. Feelings are temporary. Okay, they are flaky. You might feel a certain way, you might end up regretting your action and the next step forward. So that's where discipline also comes in. But when you're connected to the overall, what do you want 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now? When you stay connected to that, right, it's a little bit easier to walk your way backwards and say you reverse engineer it like that, right? But when you get caught up in your feelings, you will tend to come up with cookie cutter solutions that just satisfy quote unquote talking points. It makes you feel good in the moment, okay? But it doesn't really solve any problem. When you wake up tomorrow, you wake up on that same side of the bed and you still feel funky because there's disconnect from long-term value, right? Oftentimes in these spaces, you see people try to disconnect you from short-term values too. Like, I'm just happy right now. I need you to understand that happiness now is also important, but you need to be aware of the nature of it. You're a normal person if sometimes you feel happy and sometimes you feel sad. It's not the grand everything, okay? But you need to be aware that that's just being a human being, right? It's ups and down. But 2 years from now, are you higher than where you were? If you're not, then you have to go back to the drawing table and say, what am I doing wrong? So in terms of justifying bad behavior, cheating, stealing, lying, okay, it's a survival thing. The cheating part, right, it's more of a survival thing at an emotional level, okay? People will walk all over you and destroy you emotionally if it means they have to survive. Even if they are your mother sometimes. I know you didn't see that coming. A lot of people claim, mother. Yeah, you're right. Mothers are the closest thing to unconditional love. Closest thing to it. Okay? Not exactly what it is. Okay? But we all came into this life all differently. Manage your entitlement. Manage your expectations of other human beings. Okay? The way you treat yourself, here's the ultimate solution. the way you treat yourself, other people tend to, no guarantees, other people tend to treat you how you treat yourself. If you have self-love, they tend to want to be a part of that. They want to love you. If you have self-respect, they tend to want to be a part of it. They want a piece of that. Remember, RMD, the metaphor is that a person of value, everybody wants a piece of that. You become, quote unquote, metaphorically speaking, the target. They are now the enemy, metaphorically speaking, meaning you're a target. They might just want a piece of it. They might even try to do for you just to get a piece of you. Okay? So, but we're talking about relationships now. So it's not just quote unquote enemy, right? We're talking about just making sure you're taking care of yourself. That's the only thing that is sustainable. If you have self-love, self-worth, if your self-esteem is shot, it gets very, very bad. Okay, because everybody will basically mimic that. They will reflect it. Okay, they will reflect it, and it shows up in different ways too. They might be running away from you, or they might just be looking to steal from you, cheat on you, lie to you. They don't see you as a person of value. There's a blurry line between this and victim shaming. I will let you figure that out, if it's victim shaming or if you got anything out of it. Okay, so do me a favor, on your way out, hit that like button, share, subscribe, go to loveandprestige.com right now, go download and join the masterclass. There's a masterclass going on, go join it, but go download the first book and get on the waiting list for the second book. Thank you for everybody that's been here today. I appreciate all of you. Hopefully you've been enlightened and educated. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.